welcome. Give y'all a second to get in here. Did I leave? Oh, let me grab my iPad real quick. Excuse me. So, we are going to be talking about studying the importance, really, more so the importance of studying yourself through astrology and mastering. Like, I truly believe that astrology and human design, two things that I really talk about, two tools that I really use to help people on their self-discovery journey, is understanding, mastering yourself through those two tools, astrology and human design. Okay? And as you come in here, feel free to put in your big three with astrology or put in your human design type and your authority. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and add that right into the comments as well. Okay, so one of the things that I really want to talk about here is your chart ruler. This is something that we really don't see a lot of people talk about when it comes to their chart. Okay, for the most part, people know their sun sign, of course, right? Your moon sign and your rising sign. But I don't think people understand the importance of your rising sign. Like, your rising sign is very much so important because your rising sign also is really like the focus that you came here to do, right? And when you know your rising sign, you want to then find out the ruler of that rising sign, because that will be considered your chart ruler. Okay, give me 1 second here. 1 second, y'all. Okay. So you really want to know your chart ruler, because you want to think of your chart ruler as like the captain of your chart. Okay? You want to think of it as the captain of your chart. So, for example, I'm a Leo rising, okay? So, the ruler of Leo is the sun, right? So, for me, I know that the captain of my chart ruler is the sun, right? And we know that the sun transitions every 28, 29 days, right? It goes through the zodiac. It takes an entire year for it to go through this zodiac. So, not only do you want to pay attention to so let me back up. Not only do you want to pay attention to what your chart ruler is. So, like I said, using me as an example, I'm a Leo rising. The sun rules Leo. So then, what's the next thing that you want to do is figure out which sign that planet is in. What sign and then what house, right? So mine is, I'm an Aries sun. My Aries sun is in my 9th house. So this is a part of what it is that I am supposed to be doing. What it is that is part of my purpose. And, more so of how to execute my purpose. So mine is in the 9th house. So teaching, I talk about teaching. I talk about astrology. I talk about higher education, the philosophy and stuff like that. Like, things of the sorts that just really help you to understand not only yourself, but also to understand how life works in general, right? So your chart ruler is very important. And if you know your chart ruler, go ahead and put it in the chat. Because your chart ruler is very important when it comes down to really understanding, like, okay, this is how I need to approach what it is that I'm supposed to do. You understand what I'm saying? That's going to be your overall focus. And when we use astrology, right? So for those of you who may be new to astrology, now astrology is about, so how you look at your 3 placements. The number 3 placements that people know. Your sun sign. This is like your personality, your focus. The sun rules our willpower and just our ability to execute things, right? So then the next thing people know is your moon sign. Your moon sign is your emotions. Okay? That's your emotions. So if you're someone that's like, People are like, oh, you're always in your feelings, or whatever the case may be. Really look into your moon sign to understand how you process your emotions, right? How you listen to your intuition. This is a very important placement. And then secondly, lastly, you want to look at your rising sign, because this is all about what it is really that you are here to do. That's why you will hear a lot of astrologers say, like, your purpose, you're going to know your purpose is going to be attached to what your rising sign is. And then from there, you will know how you're meant to operate. So for me, my chart ruler being the sun, I know that I'm going to be feeling like a new person every season, every 29 days, right? There's different parts, different energy that I want to tap into based on where the sun is. Because remember, wherever the sun is, that's what we want to focus on. You get what I'm saying? And then that would show you how to execute that. So I just want to throw that out there because I know a lot of people don't know to look at their sun sign. Okay. And just in general, astrology. Now then from there we have the houses. So let's talk about the planets a little bit. So we have Mercury. This is how you communicate. This is how you communicate. This is how you think. This is how you come up with new ideas. And especially if you have a business, you really want to look at your Mercury placement to figure out how you are to communicate to your target audience, right? To figure out how you're meant to get people to attract your soul tribe just by talking. So especially if you're into any type of speaking, you really want to embody that Mercury placement, whichever sign that is in, because that's going to show you how you're meant to communicate in order for people to really understand you and see and speak as your most authentic self, okay? And then Venus. Venus is our relationships. Venus, it rules the sign of Taurus and it rules the sign of Libra, okay? The Taurus side of things is all about money, money and just being grounded in our body and the luxury life, okay? Where Libra is more so about like relationships, the relationship side of things. But everything else for Venus as a planet is about love and beauty. Then we have Mars. Mars will tell you your turn-ons. Mars will tell you your drive and your aggression. How do you like to take action? You understand what I'm saying? So Mars is somewhere where you want to look at to see, okay, what is my approach to taking on projects, or what is my approach to executing my ideas? You know what I'm saying? And things of that sort. And then we have, what's another planet I want to talk about? Then I'm missing off the top of my head. Then we have Jupiter. We know Jupiter is the planet of good luck, right? Jupiter rules Sagittarius. It's the planet of good luck. It's the planet of expansion, so you really want to see what house your Jupiter is in and what sign it is in, because it tells you like how you can bring good luck to yourself. And by knowing which house it is in, that's going to tell you exactly where you can bring that luck, okay? Then we also have Uranus. Now this is the planet that's ruled by Aquarius. And we know Aquarius is all about free thinking. It's all about thinking outside the box. It's all about also sudden changes, right? Like Uranus is the planet that can switch shit up at any moment. Okay, and you'd be like, damn, like right now we have a transit with the collective where Uranus is going through Taurus. Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini in July. So right now you could be feeling like your safety and security is kind of switching up. Your safety and security is kind of maybe in the limbo, right? Right now, it's like, for me, the message for me personally is really much so using what you have. Okay, using what you have, because sometimes we can over consume and we can over get things. Okay, I want to do this, so now I need to do this. And really, when you operate like that, it's like you're kind of very much so operating from a place of lack. And baby, we don't want to operate from a place of lack, okay? So knowing where Uranus is also in your chart can tell you where you can kind of want to think outside of the box. Like mine is in my 6th house. So I'm really into a different type of healing, because with the 6th house, that rules our routine, work, and our bodies, right? So because my Uranus placement, which is in Capricorn, is ruled in my sixth house, that means for me, I like different type of healing. So as you guys know, if you're not familiar, I'm a spiritual healer, right? So Reiki and things of that sort, and holistic healing. I'm not really going to be like, oh, let's go to the hospital. Like, you know, you go to the hospital, bitch, but it's really like, I like different types of ways of healing. And that's because my Uranus placement is in the sixth house. Okay. Now another planet here that I don't think I mentioned yet, Saturn. Now this is the one that everybody panties be in a bunch in when it comes to Saturn, because Saturn is the daddy of the zodiac. Saturn is going to be the planet that's going to be like, slow down. We're thinking of the big picture. I need you to be responsible, and I need you to be disciplined. I need you to take care of the shit that we need to take care of, so that way we can reach the goals, the long-term goals that we are trying to reach. You understand what I'm saying? And so my Saturn placement is in Pisces. I just went through my Saturn return. And the lesson of that was maturing spiritually, right? I had to get very mature with my spirituality, being very mature and responsible and in knowing my spirituality and what that means for me. Not everybody else, and you know, everybody else and their damn daddy and their mama. Is about what is it for me. And that's what Saturn wanted me to know. One of the lessons that I had to learn. And my Saturn placement is in my 8th house, which rules all that. The house of spirituality, the house of the occult, the house of, paying off debt and things like that, share resources. So that's what Saturn is. And right now, Saturn is in Aries. Now, this is where, this is a huge new beginning, because anytime a planet moves into Aries, the top dog, just saying, anytime a planet moves into Aries, that means a new beginning, because Aries is the first of the zodiac. The zodiac seasons start off when Aries, right in spring, when everything is coming back to life. It's a new beginning. I know you feel that in spring. It feels like a new beginning when the sun is starting to shine. It's getting warmer outside. The leaves are starting to grow back. That's a new beginning. So that's what Saturn is right now. And because, because Saturn is in Aries, what we want to look at is, what does Aries represent? We know new beginning, but Aries also represents the self. Aries also represents your ego, your identity. So with the placement being, Saturn being in this placement, Saturn does not like Aries energy. That's for one. Because Aries is very much so, I want to do what I want to do right now. I'm not waiting for when you are ready. Whereas Saturn is like, hold on, we gonna take our time, we gonna plan this shit out, because we got things that we need to take care of, baby. I need you to think big. Bitch, you think it's small, bitch, I need you to think big. That's what Saturn is all about. And please understand with Saturn, especially those of you that are going through your Saturn returns, Saturn will reward you, right? Saturn will reward you for taking your time and really being disciplined, right? Saturn is not just so much of, I'm going to, Saturn's not just so much of, I'm going to restrict you and not reward you, because it's all for your higher good. Like I said, Saturn is talking about, bitch, we're thinking big. We're thinking about long-term success. So with it being in Aries, it's really like you learning to speak up for yourself. You learning to be assertive. You learning to be a better leader. So if you're in your Saturn, if you have your Saturn in Aries, this is not the time to do what the fuck you want to do. I'm sorry to tell you. This ain't the time to jump off the porch and no longer give a fuck about your consequences. Because one thing about it, Saturn keeps the score. Period. And so you want to think about that when you are understanding and you are going through your Saturn return, right? And I feel like Saturn and Aries, those people are going to feel it the most if you're not being disciplined. You're going to feel it. That's when people are like, oh, I'm so scared of my Saturn return. Your Saturn return is only scary, or can be scary, when you are not willing to change, when you are not willing to evolve, when you are not willing to take care of business. That's when Saturn gonna hand your ass to you and say, well, all right, you don't care about your consequences, you about to be dragged through the mud. And that's what we're seeing a little bit with the Saturn and Aries people who have these placements. They are ass handed to them because they're so used to getting away with the actions that they're taking. They're not caring about the consequences. With now, you're going to have to care about the consequences. Okay. So that's a little something on Saturn and Aries. The next one I'm going to talk about is Neptune. Neptune is the planet of like illusion. So it's ruled by Pisces. Pisces can be very escapism, can be very an illusion, hid in the clouds, very much so. This drama's going on over here. I'm going to turn this other cheek and I'm going to escape, right? So it's like the planet of dreams. So that's what Neptune is. So you want to look at where you have Neptune at, because that would tell you where you may have a tendency to kind of like escape or like turn the other cheek and be like, okay, this is going on, but oh well, that type of vibe. Anywhere that you have that, that's kind of where you want to look at. And then the next planet, let me pull up my notes because I'm trying to remember these planets off the top of my head. And let me tell you, this is why I always talk about astrology, because it's a lot to astrology. Like, especially if you're someone new coming into astrology, it's a lot to learn. Okay, so those are the planets. And then, hold on one second. Why is this doing that? Oh, Pluto. How could I forget Pluto? Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, transformation, the underworld. Pluto rules Scorpio. And excuse me, I missed that earlier. Scorpio, Mars rules Aries, and Mars rules part of Scorpio. Okay, so that's why Scorpions, they can be a little hot-headed, they can be very aggressive, they can be very I said what I said with Scorpios. And they also, Scorpios, you ain't never met a Scorpio that wasn't like so damn deep. You understand what I'm saying? Like, oh, you just so deep. You just feel everything, because they do. Scorpios feel beneath the surface. This is why I say if you have a Scorpio moons run in my family. I don't have a Scorpio moon, but I have a Scorpio North Node, and I have a lot of placements in Scorpio. But the point is, Scorpio are really deep. They rule like the belief, excuse me, what am I trying to say? They are beneath the surface, okay? And so Scorpio are ruled by Pluto, which is death and rebirth. You ain't never seen a Scorpio that couldn't bounce back from something. You ain't never seen it. You ain't never seen a Scorpio not bounce back from something. And them Scorpios be having their ass handed to them. They be having very deep, emotional, intense things that they go through. But you ain't never seen somebody bounce back better than a Scorpio. That's how I knew before I even really dipped and dive deep into astrology. I knew I had some type of Scorpio placement, because baby, I have rebuilt myself many times. I have had many rebirths, many deaths within myself, and many rebirths. Like, there ain't nothing that I can't. My resilience game is top tier. It's top tier. And that's that Scorpio energy that I have within my chart, where I know how to take this pain and transmute that into power. Oh, you hating? I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to turn it into power. This is what Scorpios do. You understand what I'm saying? So it's really hard to like see a Scorpio stay down and don't know how to get back to it. You will feel like you lived many different lives. That's what Pluto is. It's all about the death and the rebirth process and the transformation. That's where you're going to take that pain and transcend it into power, okay? Very magical to me. If you ask, very magical and very fucking powerful, especially if you're a Scorpio that knows your power. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very powerful. Okay, so I think that's all the planets. So now let's go ahead and get into the houses, okay? Oh, the moon isn't a planet, but let's talk about the moon. The moon is ruled over the sign Cancer. Moon is the mother womb, also the mother planet. So very intuitive, very, bitch, I know what you up to before you even have to tell me. You know how your mama, you go to your mama know when something is wrong with you, or know something just out of whack, something just out of line. That's how the moon is. That's why them cancers, they asses is always so in their feelings because they switch with the moon. The moon switch signs like every 2 days. Okay? And so this is why Cancer seems so moody. Because just think, if your sun sign is Cancer and is ruled by the moon, this is why they seem so moody. And this is also why Cancers really have to honor how they are feeling. They have to honor when something feels off to them. Because baby, that's your intuition telling you you ain't supposed to be here. Or this motherfucker ain't got the right energy for you. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why they seem very moody, because they're truly off their intuition. They're truly going off of what their body is telling them. And when you really fuck with a Cancer, you'll really appreciate Cancers, because Cancers really, like my brother's a Cancer. And anytime that boy tell me something feel off or we out. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just tell him, believe, trust that. And he learned over time to trust that, because that is his intuition telling him, like, hey, something ain't right. And you must honor that. You must honor that. Okay, so that's the planets. Now let's go ahead and talk about the houses. Now, the houses in your chart, once you get past what the planets are and you get past, like, okay, I'm kind of understanding my Mercury is in this sign, my Venus, for the relationship girlies, if y'all really like having relationship issues and things of that sort, look at that Venus placement. Look at that Venus placement. And look to see what the aspects is in the Venus. Now, your houses in your chart, you have 12 of them. And they are the focus, or excuse me, the houses is each a part of your life, different areas of your life. So house number 1, that is you. That's your identity. That is who you are, how you just are, how your ego. The house 2, this is naturally ruled by Taurus, because remember I said Aries starts off the zodiac. And so Aries is number 1, then we go to Taurus and so forth and so forth. And the last house we end with Pisces. Pisces is the baby. Well, really Aries is also the baby of the zodiac. But Pisces is the last of the zodiac. Okay, so house number 1 is naturally ruled by Aries. So this is your ego, this is your drive, and how you go about things, just your identity, right? And so if you're someone who's new to astrology, look at what your rising sign is, because that's going to tell you what energy is ruling your first house. And then you just fill in the house, go from there. So for me, I'm a Leo rising. Leo is in my first house. And then my second house is Virgo. And then the third house is Libra. You see what I'm saying? So we're going in order of the zodiac based off my rising sign. So the second house, this is where this is how you figure out how you're meant to make money. Okay? If y'all are in a place where you're like, how do I make money? How can I make my own money? How do I attract money? Money. Look at your second house. The second house tells you how you are meant to make money. This rules your personal possessions and how you're meant to make money. So if you're someone that's like, I want to know how do I make money? Look at your second house. And then for a little advance, look at your second house and then see which planet rules that house. So for me, Virgo. Virgo is my second house. Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury is in my 9th house. So me teaching, me coaching, me higher education, everything y'all see me doing is in alignment with my chart. Okay, and so then the third house. The third house is ruled by Gemini. Okay, so this is how you communicate. The third house also is how you think, how you communicate. The third house also rules your siblings. Okay, so the fourth house is, did I say that's ruled by Libra? No, Gemini. Okay, cool. I'm staying on point, make sure I'm not getting my chart mixed up. And then the fourth house, this is ruled by Cancer. So the fourth house also tells you your relationship with your mother. Because like I said, remember the moon is all about your relationship with your mom. And so this is your planet, this is your home, okay? This rules new beginnings, your roots, your ancestors, right? Anything that represents the home and like who the fuck am I, where did I come from, what beginning did I start with? Look at your fourth house. Okay, look at your fourth house. Another thing about the moon sign, your moon sign could also tell you how your mother felt when she was pregnant with you too. But that's more advanced. But we'll get to that on another live. Okay, so that's the fourth house. Fifth house is ruled by Leo. Leo in the 5th house is all about your creativity, all about you being the artist. How are you expressing yourself? What type of hobbies do you like? If you're someone like, I don't know what my hobbies are or what type of hobbies I like, look at your 5th house. Your 5th house will tell you exactly what type of hobbies you like, or just like the creative shit that you like doing. You know what I'm saying? Look at your 5th house. 6th house, this rules your health, your body, and your work routine. Okay? This house is ruled naturally by Virgo. Okay? We all know, everybody know how Virgos is. Don't tell me y'all don't know how Virgos get down. Virgos is very much so about their damn business. Virgos is also very critical of their body and what's going on with their body. And, you know, it's really rare if you find a Virgo that's not really about their health and wellness. Okay? If they are, they're out of alignment. Remember, I told you that. So that's there in that house. The 7th house, this is the house of relationships. Okay? This house is naturally ruled by Libra. Okay? So this house is about all your relationships, your marriage, your partnerships, business partnerships, relationships in general. This is the house of that. So if you're someone that want to know like what type of partner you're more willing to attract and things of that sort, look at your 7th house. Also look at your Venus, because your Venus placement is the house of your relationships, or excuse me, is the placement of your relationships and how you like to receive love, and also how you give love. The 8th house is naturally ruled by Scorpio. Okay, naturally ruled by Scorpio. Now, this house is all about, like I said, death and rebirth, transformation, the occult, spirituality, shared resources, debt. This is what inheritance, this is what this house represents. Okay, so this is a house that you really want to pay attention to and see if you have any placements in that house as well. Because remember, if you have planets in these houses are going to tell you that these are what's going to be the most impactful. Okay, every house means something, even whether you have planets in there or not. But if you happen to have planets in that house, you want to if you have planets in that house, you are going to want to know that this might be a focus in your life, right? Like I have planets in my 8th house. My Saturn in Pisces and my Mars is in Pisces, is both in my 8th house. So I know that this is going to be a focus of my spirituality and share resources, inheritance, and debt, and things of that sort. Is going to be some shit that I want to pay attention to. Okay? So then we move on to the 9th house. 9th house is naturally ruled by Jupiter, which is Sagittarius. Okay? So Sagittarius being in the 9th house, this is all about expansion. This is all about higher education, teaching, learning, publishing, okay, philosophy. This is the house where I like to look at it as very much, it reminds me of like Malcolm X's house. Okay? Like the house where you're going to want to travel overseas to learn about other people's cultures. This is about you sharing. This is the house of wisdom. Okay? This is the house of wisdom where you're going to want to, anything that you learn, you're going to want to bring it back to your people and teach it. Okay? This is a house that's very impactful to me because my sun sign is in the 9th house. Like I talked about earlier, my chart ruler is in the 9th house. Okay? And so that's a focus for me. Me sharing my wisdom, me teaching, me coaching, me publishing things. That's going to be a main focus. That's really tied to who the fuck I am, because my sun sign is like who you are, your identity. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's what you want to look up. I also offer reading. So if y'all need help with that, go ahead and hit that link and let's book that session. Let's start that fire. And so the 10th house. Now this is the house of your career. Okay? The house of your career, the house of you being seen by the public. Public recognition. This is the 10th house. So knowing what your career can look like, what it is that you're meant to do, this is where you want to look at in your 10th house. Okay? Your 10th house is going to tell you all of those things. And remember, if you have placements in that house, this is very impactful house to you. Okay? Depending on what your placement is. Then we have the 11th house. Your 11th house is all about your community. Okay, nobody want to be motherfucking alone. Everybody needs community, no matter what you is, black, white, man, woman. Everyone needs community, right? Everyone wants people that they can relate to and they can just grow with. This is the 11th house. Okay, so understanding which house that is for you is very important. Okay, and then we have the 12th house. Now, the 12th house rules the unseen, it rules your spirituality because it's ruled by Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. Okay, this is a house, if you have planets in your 12th house, this is a house where you're really going to need self-care. Okay, you're really being asked to prioritize your self-care because it's really a lot of things going on in the unconscious mind, right? And so you're going to need to have that self-care, the boundaries, baby, because remember I said it's ruled by Pisces. Pisces don't know how to set boundaries. They don't. But Pisces will be running all over the fucking world for any and everybody, and Pisces will be the sign to overextend. It just flows and goes with the flow, right? So the 12th house is very important if you have placements there, because you're going to need to learn how to establish boundaries. You're going to need to learn how to establish you're just going to need to know how to establish a self-care routine, like to take care of yourself. How do you pour into you? How do you regulate your nervous system? That's really what this shit is about. Okay, when I'm teaching you about astrology and human design, this is and eventually I'm getting my Reiki certification in July, so soon I'll be offering Reiki sessions. But the point is, I want you guys to regulate your nervous system. Let me get some water. Speaking of that, let me get some water. Knowing how to regulate your nervous system is how you attract money. It's how you attract the shit that you want to attract. Because you have a regulated nervous system. When you're like, I got 50, my mind is going everywhere, I got 50 things I'm trying to, you ain't set your ass down for a second. You got to regulate your nervous system. It's hard to manifest things when you don't have a regulated nervous system. So make sure you look at the placements of your house, because of that 12th house, because that will really show you what it is that you need to do. Again, if you're someone who may not have placements in your 12th house, like I don't have placements in my 12th house, but my 12th house is ruled by Cancer. So I like to be nurtured, right? That's what self-care is to me, and self-love. I love to just be gentle with myself, and I love to do yoga and all these type of things of how I nurture myself. And remember, the 12th house shows you too, if you have placements, that you can have hidden enemies as well. This is why it's really important, you guys, to understand your chart, understand what energy is representing your house. So if you're someone that's like, how am I meant to make money? You need to look at your second house and see what energy is ruling that house. So you can go from there to know, oh, okay, Virgo's in my second house. I know I'm meant to, Mercury is ruled by Virgo. Okay, my ideas, my thoughts, my wisdom. You understand what I'm saying? That's how I'm going to attract and make money. That's how I'm meant to attract and make money. And like I said before, if you look at where your second house is, and then you go and you look to see where's the ruler of your second house, that's going to tell you how you're meant to make money. But here's the thing we have to remember when it comes to make money, that it's not just about the money. We have to understand from here to here, there's work in between that you need to do, right? When people book sessions with me, it's not so much about the money. It's about where my brain goes, because my second house is ruled by Virgo. Okay, Virgo is a service sign. Virgo is about providing a service. What I'm thinking about is, how can I unlock and remove any blockages that this person may have when it comes to understanding their chart and how that correlates to them. You understand what I'm saying? Then once I've known I've done that, then for me, that's when I feel like, okay, I can go ahead and celebrate that I made money. Excuse me. So if you're someone that's like, I'm trying to figure out how I can do that, I'm trying to figure out what type of career I'm supposed to have, things of that sort, go ahead and book a session, because I would love to make it make sense for you. I would love to go in there and pull this out and say these two. And this is how you execute that. Then another thing, I want you to look into your human design chart. Your human design chart is going to tell you how to execute that. Okay, if you're new to both, I have sessions that's called the Soul Ignition session. And that's where we're going to pull up your astrology chart and we're going to pull up your human design chart. And we're going to match them because they're both blend together. All right, that is why those are two of my favorite tools to assist you on your self-discovery path. Is your human design and your astrology. Look at the human design look at astrology as your roadmap, and then your human design is like the GPS. Like, okay, how do I get there? Okay, this is how I'm supposed to make money. Now, how do I execute that? Okay, I'm supposed to have a career in this. How do I execute that? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, I have certain gifts that I need to tap into. How can I execute that? That is when your human design chart is going to come in. And so if you're someone that's like, okay, Tori, I know my astrology chart, but bitch, I need help with human design, I need you to go ahead and book your power hour. Book your power hour and let's get to it. There's no need to wait. You know what I'm saying? There's no need to wait. And when it comes to, and this is what I want to say too, because I'm someone, as you asked what I just explained to y'all, I have a lot of placements in my ninth house. My midhaven is also in my ninth house. That's my house of, your midhaven is what you're here to do, as well as far as your career and what is your approach to that. So that's also in my ninth house. I want you to, so I'm someone who I'm always investing in myself. If I book a reading, to me, that's an investment to my self-discovery path, my self-improvement, my self-awareness journey. Okay, it's not just you booking a session just so, oh, okay, that's cool, this is what I'm doing. I want you to look at it as, this is how I'm investing in myself to really make sure I'm living out my purpose and I am in alignment with my assignment. Okay? If you're rewatching this replay, put I am in alignment with my assignment. Okay? Because that's what it's about. It's about thinking about what type of experiences do I want my money to provide for me. I know we have been going through life and just thinking that life is about just paying bills and going to work at a job you can't stand, a job you can't wait to get the hell out of, a job that you're manifesting to get out of. But I want you to also get into the habit of, what type of experiences do I want my money to provide for me? What type of experiences do I want my money to help me experience? And so that may look like you investing in yourself and saying, let me book that damn session so I can understand what it is that I'm called here to do. Like I said, I'm not going to coddle you. I'm not going to hold your hand and say, I'm going to say, look, this is what it looks like. And this is how you can unlock it. But you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work, okay? So what's another thing? Okay, I'm going to talk about your Chiron. Now, your Chiron in your chart is the wounded healer. This is when, baby, we get to the shadow work of your chart. This is, we love talking about the money, and we love talking about the career, and we love talking about things that, the fun side of things and stuff like that. But we really okay. So that's when you want to so this is when we get to the shadow side of it. Okay, this is where we get to the shadow side of our chart. That's what the Chiron is. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is what you are meant to heal within yourself And once you heal that, then you go and show others how you're meant to heal. Or excuse me, you go and show others what it is that you did to heal. Okay? And so you also want to pay attention to, of course, per usual, you want to pay attention to what sign it's in, as well as where it is in your chart. Okay, so like mine, I love to speak from experience, baby. Okay, bitch, I'm gonna speak from experience. So that's another thing in my ninth house. Okay, I speak from experience. I'm not just a bitch up here talking and just saying, hey, this is what you need to do. I literally apply my chart, my astrology chart, and my human design chart every damn day. Whether you have a 9 to 5, whether you're an entrepreneur, you can put these things into your chart, and you can utilize this. It's all about self-awareness. Okay, and so my chart, my Chiron placement is in Virgo. So because mine is in Virgo, it's very much so about understanding the relationship with the body, understanding that I don't have to be over criticize myself. I don't have to show up with perfection. And so once you learn to heal those things within you and get through those things, what do? My number one motherfucking thing that I do, I go back and teach my community. Okay, I go back and teach my community how I do it. That's what you're meant to do with your Chiron placement. Your Chiron placement is not meant to make you feel like a victim. Okay, it's meant to say, okay, this is your shadow side, and now this is how you go and you execute. This is how you go and you heal, and then you go out and you teach others how to heal from that same thing. Okay, and then you want to pay attention to what house that is in as well, because then that's deeper. So that's the shadow side of your chart. A lot of people don't want to look at the shadow side because who's excited about, oh, I need to do the work. But doing the work is how you are able to really attract and be your highest self. We got to be committed to do the work, and that's what I help you do. I help you do the work within your chart, so that way you can truly be your most highest self. Like, that shit is achievable. It's not something that's just like, oh, excuse me. It's not something that's just like, oh, it's only for a select few people. It's really for the people that's going to do the work. So you can't hate on them. Just be inspired and do the work. Okay. So I offer all that in my stand store. Check it out. Let's go ahead and get to it. Okay. And then also, you could also subscribe to my Patreon, because my Patreon is where you can grow with me. You understand what I'm saying? This is where we have live Q&As. This is where you can have access to me on a daily basis. So you're like, say you book a session, you have a session, and you love the session, and you're like, okay, I have these tools now to understand myself. I have these tools now to understand me. You do that then you're like, okay, good, I have everything I need. Now what, right? Or I have more questions and things of that. Join my Patreon, because my Patreon is where you could say, hey Tori, what does Mercury retrograde means for me? This is how you're able to understand that. Okay, so by subscribing to my Patreon, that's how you have daily access to me, where you're able to constantly ask and understand your chart together on a daily basis. Okay, so you book the session, you get the tools, you learn the tools. Patreon is where you have that access to really live through those tools and kind of have that support to live through those tools. Okay, so I think that's all I really wanted to talk to you guys about today with astrology and just studying yourself. Like, there's no better feeling than studying yourself. Okay, there's no better feeling than understand why you operate the way that you operate. Self-mastery. You get there through astrology and human design, just to name a few. Okay, just to name a few. That's how you get there. Okay, that's how you get to this place to really understand of why I operate the way that I operate. Self-mastery is the name of the game. Studying yourself. I'm always looking to my chart. Okay, this transit is happening here. Where does this mean for me? Okay, Saturn is now in Aries. Let me look at my Aries house, because this is where the universe is asking me to get more disciplined, more responsible in this house. Okay? This is how you do it. And then also, what I'm currently learning in astrology, because like I said, I'm always going to be learning the aspects of your chart, knowing your aspects of your chart. Now, the aspects is the conversation that your personal chart is having. Okay, how is your Mars? What conversation is your Mars having with your Saturn? Right? If you're in a relationship and you're like, okay, it's a little tricky, see if something squares your Venus. Okay, if there's you have relationship issues or anything of that sort, or you're like, when is my when I meet my soulmate or things of that sort, look into the placement. You're okay. We're talking about relationships. Venus rules relationships. Look to see, check your aspects. Look to see if you have anything squaring your Venus. Because if you have something squaring your Venus, this can mean that you can be having trouble, a little trouble in paradise. Okay? Your chart literally tells you everything. Your human design chart tells you your gifts. If you're someone like, I don't know what my gifts are, I don't understand, or whatever the case may be, pull up your human design chart. If you don't understand it, book a session and I will help you understand your chart. I will literally walk you through piece by piece what this means for you. Okay? And then I also record a session. So that way I can send it to you and you could always use your session as a place to study. You could go back and be like, okay, she said this in this session. You know, you could always have it as something that you can reference. Okay, so book that session. Let's get to it. Okay, there's nothing greater, there's no better feeling than studying yourself. Because when you study yourself, can nobody tell you about you? Okay, so I will see you guys in my next live. That's what I have for today. Any questions that you guys want me to talk about more in a chart, whether you're like, girl, my moon sign, I have a moon, a water moon, or whatever the case may be, or my spouse. Welcome. If you're like, okay, I want to understand my spouse, or whatever the case may be, let me know in the chart. Let me know in the comments if you're watching this replay what it is that you want me to cover to talk about astrology. If you want me to talk about this or something in human design, whichever it is that you want to talk about, want me to talk about, let me know in the comments. And let me know in the comments as well if you're watching this replay. Make sure that you have your post notifications on, because just so you know, you have that algorithm, keep me in the algorithm, and I can constantly show up on your feed. And as well, turn on your post notifications for my lives. Okay, that way you don't miss a live and you're notified when I go live. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure, like I said, if you want to learn more, book the session in my description, the Stand Store. Readings are always available. They're available by pre-recorded, voice message, or by Zoom calls. Whichever you prefer, I got you. Okay? Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in my next live.